Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do another reading update. I should have my video with what I added to Goodreads in the first half of the month up maybe tomorrow. We'll see. I need to finish my list, but yeah, this is what I have today. Oh yeah, and I also have another one where I talk about everything that I bought so far from Libro FM's Black Friday sale. Maybe I'll wait until Audible has their sale to add to that, but whatever. Anyway, I've read 11 books in the past 10 days or so we'll just get started. So the first one's called The Wartime Nanny by Lizzie Page. I give this one 3 stars. It was okay. I didn't really get very attached to the characters, so it takes place during World War II. Natalie Lehman, she leaves Vienna and her family and travels to England to join her cousin Leah in basically working there. She becomes a nanny to this wealthy family, and she's there throughout the war years as things get more dangerous, and she's trying to bring her siblings to England in the kinder transports. It's a whole thing. And also the family she works for sucks. There is infidelity. They're bad people. It's so bad. And honestly, Natalie isn't that much better. She kind of kept her head in the sand about what was happening, during, in Vienna for so long that it was kind of too late in some respects about doing something about it. She should have done something sooner. Her cousin kept warning her, so I don't know, just the characters annoyed me so much that it brought the book down. There was nobody likable by the end of this book. I'm just I can't stand any of you people. The rich people, Natalie's cousin, everybody sucked. I was invested enough to finish the story, but not one of my favorite of her books, so there's that one. Then I read Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. I give this one 5 stars. I've had this book since before Matthew Perry's passing. I actually bought it when it first came out. I never read it. I meant to, and now it's just doubly sad to read it because it kind of ends on this really hopeful note, and you'd feel so much hope and pride if you didn't know that he'd passed away already, so it made me cry probably more than it would have had I read it when I bought it. But I'm glad I read it. He had a very difficult life. His addiction issues, stuff like that. Amanda from Book Lover Amanda also read it. I think last month. Yeah. She kind of said similar. So, yeah. I think she read it before he passed away, though. Yeah, I think she did. Either way, I think I wish I'd read it before, but I'm not really going to talk too much about what was in the book. It's better if you read it yourself, but suffice it to say, you will cry. Then I read A Mother's Promise by K.D. Alden. I gave this one 4 stars. I think I heard about this one. Krista from Books and Jams, she had it in a book haul, I think it was her. It was a long time ago. I've had it on my TBR for about a year. This was based on a true story behind a U.S. Supreme Court decision, basically about eugenics, who has a right to have babies and whether you're allowed to sterilize people without their consent if they have disabilities of some kind or whatever. So this one takes place in Virginia, 1937. Ruth Ann is our main character. She got pregnant and wasn't married. Let me add that the pregnancy was unconsensual. Put it that way. So she was sent away to live in this home for people that are quote unquote feeble-minded or crazy. as they call it. Her mom lives there too. But Ruth Ann, prior to her pregnancy, had been living in a foster home when her mom was sent to this home. Her and her siblings were separated. So, yeah, she goes to live in this home, and her baby gets taken and given to the same foster family that took care of her, and the foster family sucks. And then they basically tell her that she's going to get sterilized, like she's going to get her tubes tied, essentially, so she can't have any more children, and she doesn't get a say in it. So it's about the court case to stop this, and as well as her fight to get her daughter back, So, yeah, it was a very sad book, and the court case was really unfair. I can't say more than that, but eugenics has always been a tough topic, because you kind of, as bad as it sounds, you sort of see how it started, like how you could feel it was right. I mean, there are cases where you could really argue for it. Like, if a woman has a mental capacity of a 2-year-old and gets pregnant, then what do? Give her, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like, I'm not trying to play God here. I'm just saying that it can start out as a good thing to an extent, but then it's not. So, yeah, there's that one. Then I read When I Was Yours by Lizzie Page. I gave this one 4 stars. This one kind of goes between World War I and World War II. In World War II, I think the woman's name is, what's her name? Jessie, I think? Well, this woman takes in a little girl from the kinder transport, and she sort of is related to someone she knew from her time in World War I. So, like, you sort of go back and forth between the two timelines until they converge, like, until they meet. How this little girl is related to her past. So, yeah. I don't know. It was an interesting, to read about both wars in the same book. I cannot remember this woman's name. It's not Jessie. What is her name? Whatever. But yeah, like I said, this little girl is very much connected to her time in World War II. And you hear about this woman's life in the war, and her sister as well. And her sister kind of had a complicated life. So it was kind of difficult to read. And there's a lot of, I guess, sort of violence in the book. I mean, it's war. So, yeah, it was, difficult read, but I enjoyed it. So, yeah. Okay, what's the next one? I lost my spot. Finding Me. The next one is Finding Me by Viola Davis. I give this one 4 stars. I also had this one for a while. It's Viola Davis's autobiography. It's her book. She wrote it. I heard it was good, and it was. She narrates it herself. She narrates the audiobook. There's a lot of swearing and a lot of violence from her childhood, and I could have done without some of that, I must admit. But I also feel kind of mean criticizing a book that is about someone's life. I mean, it didn't happen to me. It's something that happened in real life. So I sort of, I don't know. It just felt like a lot. Yeesh. Write about something happy, but then it's her life. I mean, that's her story. Can't all be roses and sunshine. But yeah, she overcame a lot of obstacles, I'll say that. And, yeah, I don't know. There's not much else I can say, really. It's her life story. Then, strong pivot. I read the next Virgin River book, Sunrise Point, Virgin River number 17. I gave this one 5 stars. So yes, Storm from Storm Reads. I have no complaints about this one. The couple is Tom and Nora. Nora has 2 little girls. I'd already liked Nora from previous books. We've seen her, but she didn't have her own story. She goes to work for Tom at his apple orchard. It had a very fall vibe. I thought I wasn't going to like Tom because at first he didn't want to give her a job because she was a woman and a single mom. And I was like, you sexist jerk. But then he grew on me, which is actually very rare. Generally speaking, when we start off with a jerk, I hate you until the end of the book. But not this time. And I loved his grandma. I think her name is Maxie. I don't know. I just like the story. Nora has a whole story with her estranged father, which was also really touching. And Noah Kincaid, the reverend or preacher from Forbidden Falls, makes an appearance throughout this book, so I was happy to see him. So yeah, I only have 2 more Virgin River books left to go. I'm saving them for next month because they're both Christmas books. So, yeah. Then I read Hold My Girl by Charlene Carr. I heard about this one through the Literally Reading podcast. I gave this one 5 stars. The audiobook just came out last week, even though the print had been out since October. I don't know why, but it's about 2 women, and a husband of one of the women. They're both doing like fertility treatments, and a nurse switches their eggs. So each of them is carrying the other's baby. One of the babies dies and the other one does not. So it's like the custody battle for this baby. But what's crazy is that the baby does belong to the actual father that was supposed to father the baby. Just that the mother is a completely different person. So that's what makes it weird. I didn't realize that's how it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 2 couples fighting for this kid. But no, that's what makes it even stickier, is that the mom's not the mom, but the dad's still the dad. Because they use the same sperm, but they switch the eggs. So they essentially fertilized another woman's egg with the first woman's husband, if that makes sense. It's wild. But yeah, there's like a custody battle and the twists and turns of that. And there's also like race that comes into it because, one of the characters is biracial and her husband's family is white, and the family was like super relieved when this baby came out looking white. And, she's very insecure because, like they find out then that this baby isn't actually hers. Like, it's confirmed that it's not hers. So there's like that kind of relief from the family, which is messed up. I mean, there's a whole lot of race issues I wasn't considering. I just thought it would be an interesting custody battle and stuff. But it was, wow. I was not expecting a lot of the stuff that came up in this book. So, yeah. Then I read The Boxcar Children Beginning by Patricia McLaughlin. I heard about this one through Chloe from Always Booked. She warned me not to read this book. Well, she warned everybody because she thought it wasn't that great. And she was right. I gave it some 3 stars just to be generous. But, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really... Basically, the Boxcar Children, before their parents died, supposedly live on this farm with their parents, and they take in this other family when their car breaks down. We're talking like Great Depression times, I think. I can't remember the exact time period, but yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, we see these 2 families living together, And then the book kind of ends with the parents dying, which is where the Boxcar Children begins. I mean, that part was a little sad, but generally, I don't know. I didn't recognize the kids in this book, I guess. Like, they're not the same Alden kids that you see in the Boxcar Children books. That being said, I can't wait to dive into the Boxcar Children series. Now that all of them are available on audio. When I was a kid, they only had some available on audio through Braille Institute. So I read all of those. I loved them. But yeah, now they're all available. And the best part is, unlike the Babysitter's Club books, I don't have to buy these. I can just borrow them from the library. So expect lots of Boxcar Children mysteries throughout the year. I'm planning on reading them all in order. There's over 100, so that'll definitely bring my reading, up. So, yeah, there's that one. You're right, Chloe. This one sucked. Then I decided to start on my Lucy Maud Montgomery journey for the More Montgomery Challenge. I decided not to follow the prompts. I just decided to go back to my, Anne of Green Gables. So the first one I read was Before Green Gables by Budge Wilson. I gave this one 4 stars. I had read this one a long time ago, but I never read it, along with the Anne books, the way I decided to do now. So Budge Wilson wrote this book, I think 10 years ago. It's Anne's life before Green Gables. And I liked it, but there were some inconsistencies. They had Anne praying in this book, and in Anne of Green Gables, which I read next, Anne doesn't know how to pray. She has to ask Marilla how to pray. So it doesn't make a lot of sense that Anne's praying in this book. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess you can't expect another author to keep track so meticulously. They're not expecting us to be reading with a fine-tooth comb. But, yeah. I forget who's hosting the More Montgomery Challenge. Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes, and I have to look it up, but I'll tag you in the video. I'm so sorry. But yeah, anyway, it was interesting to read this book as the beginning of the Anne series, and then go on to read Anne of Green Gables, which is the book that I read next and gave 5 stars to. One of the things I actually bought in the Black Friday Libro FM sale, which I'm going to talk about in another video, is all of the Anne books on audio. They had the majority of them in one audiobook, except for Anne of Windy Poplars and Anne of Ingleside. I don't know why. But yeah, I finished Anne of Green Gables. You know the story, right? Anne supposed to Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert, a brother and sister on Prince Edward Island, want a boy. They get a girl. The rest is history. Anne gets into mischief. It's so funny how, this book just stands the test of time for me. I read other books from my childhood this past year, the Little House books, and I noticed, just some things that, didn't sit well with me as much as they did when I was a kid. But this book it has staying power. I mean, I still laughed at all the same places. I hadn't read that in so many years. I mean, Anne dyeing her hair. That being said, I don't not understand the Gilbert Blythe appeal. He's a nothing burger to me. I don't care about Gilbert. I don't have a problem with him. He's just not interesting to me. And everybody's all for Anne and Gilbert. I'm that's fine. I don't care that they got married. They're fine. I'm just saying Gilbert is the least interesting character in the entire series. Even when they do get married, he doesn't exist to me. And again, that's not my usual, the way I technically have a bunch of scorn for some of the guys in romances. That's not it. I just don't get Gilbert. I don't understand why he's so great. He's just there. But anyway. The only memorable moment he has is calling Anne carrots and Anne, like, dumping the slate over his head. After that, he's just, like, mooning over her. And then once he gets her, he's not even that interesting. Like, he's just there as part of the pack. So, I guess I'm just saying I'd be just as happy if Anne had married somebody else. Like, I'm more interested in Anne and the whimsical people she meets than I am in him. So, yeah. Anyway, then the last book I read was The Warsaw Sisters by Amanda Barrett. I heard about this one first through Lou from Christian Faith and Fiction. She talked about it in, like, the upcoming Christian fiction releases for, I think, November? Yeah, whatever. And then Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails just reviewed it, which is what made me read it right now. It's about two sisters, Antonina and Helena. They send their father off to war to defend Poland, and then they sort of go their different paths to help the war effort. Antonina also has a Jewish sort of boyfriend, Marek. So she is really into, like, the Jewish cause of it all. She helps rescue Jewish children and get them to safety. And, her and Marek have their thing. She sneaks into the ghetto, that kind of thing. And Helena is kind of the more shy of the two sisters. They're twins, actually. But she kind of has to come out of her shell because Antonina is doing this resistance work. So she has to kind of move out so her sister isn't, like, endangered. But she can't tell Helena why she moved out. So Helena thinks that she's upset with her for another reason. So they kind of sort of have a falling out. And Helena has to stand on her own 2 feet during the war. And she joins the resistance. And she basically fights in the war. She helps distribute weapons. And she's basically on the battlefield. So Helena actually was the more impressive of the two. But yeah, it is a little similar to the Nightingale. Just prepare for a lot more death than in the Nightingale. If you like anyone in this book, just don't get too attached. But yeah, it was. Katie said she liked it more than Nightingale. I wouldn't go that far, but I still loved it. The only thing I will say is I don't see the Christian fiction of it all. They do have, like, the priest telling them that God's there through everything, but it's, like, one moment of, like, religious talk, I guess, and that could be in any secular book. I think it's not, like, you don't have the Bible woven throughout this book, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I don't really see the Christian fiction of it all. I think any secular reader could read this and enjoy it and not feel preached at or pushed into Christianity in any shape or form. So, yeah. Anyway, that is the last book that I read in these past few days. I am currently in the middle of grading Sweetgrass, and I also just started another book that I heard about from Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytail. No Journey Too Far. There's 2 of them. No Journey Too Far by Carrie Turonsky. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading those 2 in my historithon journey. So yeah, there's that. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.
Speech on. Stop recording video.